Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Well, good evening, Lana. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Fabulous. Thank you for asking. Yes, just fabulous.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. I really appreciate it.
And it is good to be here with you. It's good to be here with your listeners, and I know we're going to have a fun time.
Definitely. So let's start off by learning a little bit more about you. How do you describe yourself and what you do?
All right. Describing myself, Lana from Montana. I live in Montana. I adore it. I love it. I just say this is God's country, so to speak. And I do what I love. I work with people all over the globe. I've actually worked with people helping them with health issues and wellness issues, teaching them as well the foods, how to know what foods are good for them and bad for them. And that's a big deal these days. Mm-hmm. I've been called a food intuitive. I'm also a mom, a wife, a grandma, a great-grandma, and I have 12 kids. So how's that for starters?
Wow, that's you must be very, very busy.
I'm totally busy. People ask me, so what do you do for the holidays? And we could get into that if you want to, but
sure.
Anyway.
I mean, does everybody come? So I grew up in the Midwest, and it is not my favorite place to visit for the holidays. Do your kids enjoy visiting Montana for the holidays?
They love visiting anytime. Yes. Yeah. Holidays are totally wonderful. We get together and do a whole lot of eating and a whole lot of laughing and hugging and loving. It's what we do.
Well, that's amazing. That sounds like a fun holiday.
Uh-huh.
So let's because I know you've written a book. Before we jump into that, let's talk about your work then with health. So what led you down that path?
What led me was ill health, and it was my own, basically. I started having, in my 30s, I guess, I started having some gut issues and problems with food, which led to, going to the medical doctor, going to the hospital with just severe, horrible cramps in my gut and pain, and saying one day to the doctor, is there something I should eat or shouldn't eat? And he just looked at me kind of quizzically and well, that's a good question. And he said, well, maybe more vegetables. Anyway, fast forward that a few years and dealing with, bowel issues that were very irritable. I was in an automobile accident. At that time, I owned a dental lab and was kind of in the cutting edge of the dental field with implants and so on. And I was on my way to deliver a person their dentures early one morning. And that person didn't get to eat with their dentures that afternoon because I was rear-ended by a semi-truck, which sent me into 10 years of chronic pain with headaches and body aches, pain from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head. And in that period of time, searching for what would help me. And this was in the 80s, late 80s, I guess. I don't remember exact dates, but about then. And that's when, Yuri, things were really weird. Energy medicine that we take advantage of these days, actually like chiropractic or yoga. Mm-hmm. Yoga back then was just that was kind of crazy and weird. And so was taking supplements as health preventative, and juicing, for instance, was very strange. Juicing was crazy. So I started all that crazy stuff and searching. And one day I said to a friend of mine, I'm seeing a chiropractor about 3 times a week. I should marry one. And we just laughed and laughed. Well, I was set up with Dr. Bruce Nelson on a blind date. He happened to specialize in the type of pain that I was having. They called it fibromyalgia at that time. Mm-hmm. And within about 2 weeks with using his method, I was out of pain. Now, mind you, I had gone through the full medical gamut and spectrum of neurologist, and it was actually a neurologist who said, I suggest you might see a chiropractor. So that being said, that's my road to health. And within 2 weeks, I was totally out of pain. Oh, and so so I actually changed my profession, mm-hmm. and I started, I started working with my husband in his chiropractic office, and he was helping people from all over, actually, chronic problems that you don't get help as you search around, and then you eventually go to something that's weird, okay, so to speak. So, and natural medicine. So I developed, he was helping a lot of people, and I said, what about food? So with the method that he was using, have you heard of muscle testing or kinesiology, Yuri?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Well, he used muscle testing, and some people call it kinesiology, mm-hmm. to test what imbalances the person had. Was there something in there that shouldn't be? Was there something out that needed to be aligned, or nutrition, and more? Mm-hmm. And so I decided, hey, we need to put food into this melange. Mm-hmm. So I developed a program where actually using muscle testing, I tested each one of our patients for what their best healing foods were. And that is how my book morphed. Being that I could not work with every person on the planet, or every person who might be interested mm-hmm. in knowing what their best foods and the foods to stay away from were, so I decided to teach you how to do it yourself, and that is what my book is about.
Oh, that's wonderful. So let's go into your book then. So it's called The Food Codes: Intuitive Eating for Everybody.
Yes.
And so what are some of the strategies? I know that ultimately the listeners should go out and they should buy your book to learn this in detail. But just to give a little taste, like, what are some strategies you teach so that people can figure out what foods are good for their body?
I love what you just said about taste. Okay. I basically teach you how to stop judging foods and how to know what is good for you by using the very easy to learn method of muscle testing. And I have a complete chapter on how to do that yourself and how to test yourself, complete with pictures and instructions. And I have downloadable food codes food list that's about 14 pages or more mm-hmm. of the general whole foods that you don't even have to look up foods. You can just test yourself, or your loved one, even your pet, because you can use this for your pets and or animals. Mm-hmm. And so how to find what your best foods are. Now, the thing here is it's your particular foods right now with whatever stress is going on in your life, be it health problems, being this is summertime or wintertime, your body will require different foods and have different foods that are good for you right now and foods that are not. So it's important to learn how to do that. And I teach you how to shop for those. And I teach you how to eat out mm-hmm. with what I call your food codes, how you can actually open a menu up and you can test, let me see, do I need beef today? Do I need a salad today? Do I need something on page 3 or page 4? So really super easy how to use. And then further, I also teach you, if you have never even boiled water before, mm-hmm. I actually teach you how you can boil water or boil a potato, or how you can use a pressure cooker so easily. And I give you something very unique, because some people may have a family recipe, or I have a specific recipe for soup that I love to make, and very few, and let's just use as an example, a person says, I love this soup, mm-hmm. but it doesn't have my very best foods in it. So I give you recipe templates on different things like salads and soups and a lot of different types of recipe templates, frittatas, and so on. And I teach you how to use parts or portions. For instance, a soup, you might use 7 parts, which could be a cup. Okay, let's say a cup is 1 part. 7 parts of a broth or water, and 3 parts of vegetables. You could use carrots, you could use celery, and let's say green beans, whatever, your best foods. And then maybe 1 part protein, and then give you different flavoring ideas of how to make this Asian or how to make this Spanish or Italian. So recipe templates to show you how to use it. Then I give you examples of families who have used this and people that have show you how they have used their particular food codes to fashion recipes. I give you some energy. I give you one. You'll love to look at this up. The 30-second gut flush. Okay, I'm just going to pique yours and your listeners' interests.
Yeah.
I have a couple of videos on YouTube about that.
Okay.
And it's a technique that I've used for 20 plus years. And it's just a method of how to rub your tummy and in what direction to help you slim, trim, or digest. How you can actually digest. So you can use this, the food codes, intuitive eating for every body. Okay, so your body, your brother's body, your mom's body, whatever, your puppy dog's body, how to use your food codes. And the 30-second gut flush teaches you how to keep your drainage open, digestion, and more. And one of my couple of recent testimonials of this, I got a call from a gal, and she said since my book was published, she started using it, 4 or 5 months ago. And she said, I have lost 41 pounds. Now that's astonishing. And she said, and I eat what I like. I eat as much as my body wants. And I teach you to know how your body, when you're full and when you're hungry and when you're full, for instance, I have, in my book, I have, directions on how to do that because we've lost that since we were a baby. But you can use this for, let's say you're getting in shape for a run, a marathon. What are my best foods for getting in shape with this marathon? Or what are my best foods for instance, your creative, the people in your audience, creatives, if you're not eating intuitively or eating the right foods for your energy, you're actually blocking your creative energy. So are those some things you might be interested in?
Yeah, definitely. This all sounds exciting, really exciting.
Thanks.
Yeah.
There's more too. There's more. I just kind of hit the top of the waves.
Sure. This is great. So I know on your website you use the term diet in quotes and say that people should strike the word diet from their vocabulary. So why? Why do you not like the word diet, and what does that mean?
Well, what that means, diet is a simple word meaning the foods you eat and should mean a lifestyle. Instead of, if you think about, I need to go on a diet for, I'm overweight or I'm underweight. It's almost like at first you're so excited about it and yes, I'm going to do this. It's kind of like the New Year's resolution where like in the next couple of weeks, you're done with it. And so you're on, and then you're discouraged. So you're so excited, but you can go on a diet, a particular food program at one time, and you could feel really good. You could, and then you do it another time, and it doesn't work for you like it did before. Okay? Because your body is changing and it's just not the right thing for you right now. So diet, there are certain, and I'll back up a little bit. I planned my own diet with this, okay? I took so many years of testing people for their best foods and worst foods. I took the best of the best foods from a large number of food code plans that I had done. And so I made a list of the top foods, and I made a list of the things that most people in our, that were very ill should stay away from. Then I put that list on my refrigerator, and my husband and I stuck to it like glue, basically, stuck to that food plan for several weeks. He